we are going to be exploring consciousness with the reptilians who have come to participate in the human experience. He'd like you to understand the intention for manipulation really had nothing to do with you. It really had nothing to do with causing pain and suffering. It had everything to do with exploring control and manipulation. The creator, he knew it was coming. You have to understand that. You have to feel that, because his job was never to stop anything like that. His job is not to protect, because he knows that you, as his creation, as a soul, are more powerful than these beings who came to play here. You just forgot. Yeah, the head of the reptilians was here saying, stop doing that, because it will continue if you keep doing that, because that's the dynamic they set up. Welcome back to the Authentic Human Podcast. I'm Michelle Vickers. This is part 40 of the story of creation. So if you haven't joined us for any of our Story of Creation series, welcome. We're very happy to have you here. We are deep into wisdom from a variety of universal beings. And yeah, so let's see what they have to share with us today. So it's interesting, actually. So, okay, these are beings that I got to tell you, I wouldn't have expected them to be here. And so here we go. This is interesting. Talk about deer in headlights, knowing that this is recorded live and there's no filter. So, yeah. Okay. If you're uncomfortable with this discussion as I get into it, you just log right off and we'll see you next time. Do not worry about that. But we are going to speak with so how this works. I'm just going to give you a quick background. Every stream of conscious beings has a high being of that stream, right? So, from canines like dogs, so it's wolves and coyotes and dogs and foxes, like there's a high one. Same with human souls. Okay. So there's a high one that communicates for the masses strategically and specifically on information that's based on their existence. Okay. So they can't speak to individual aspects about you and your soul, but they speak about the basis and foundation of that stream of consciousness and those beings. And so, which brings me to it's uncomfortable only because I have chosen consciously to keep my awareness of this aspect of existence behind closed doors, so to speak, only because I don't want to freak people out. So that being said, guys, I am going to say that they're showing up for a reason. And it is important to understand that what we are doing in the story of creation is we are revealing the truths about existence. So today we are going to be exploring consciousness with the reptilians who have come to participate in the human experience. Now, what's important to understand is these beings came here within the last 50,000 years to create manipulation is the way. So I'm going to have to go deeper into the energy just because I am mentally a little bit uncomfortable bringing this into the world, not because I don't think that people are ready. I think because I've always feared a mass amount of judgment. But that's okay. We're doing it anyways. So, um, okay. So it doesn't matter what this being's name is because it is irrelevant to you. Okay. So it's just an understanding and an awareness that he would like, he'd like to share his story. And he'd like you to understand the intention for manipulation really had nothing to do with you. It really had nothing to do with causing pain and suffering. Okay. It had everything to do with exploring control and manipulation. And so their understanding, okay, their intention when they came here was, oh, what can we do with this universe that hasn't been done before? And the creator, our creator, okay, allowed and chose to allow this level of participation because, again, it hadn't been done before. Okay. And so it's really important to understand that this is where we often will confuse the need for protection. We confuse the need to, set boundaries because we have this belief and understanding that, there is danger out there and we're constantly under threat. Now, what this, it's two-sided, actually, it's beautiful. So, he's saying that was never our intention. So the mass belief that's been created that their intention was to cause harm, okay, it's not true. It was misconstrued. And because of that, it's important because here's the thing. That belief that their intention was to cause harm is what created the foundation within humanity, okay, within the existence of human, like our human condition. So it's not consciousness, it's a condition, right? That suffering was okay. This is actually how it came to pass. Not because someone intended it originally, okay, but because it was a byproduct. And those who chose to then, so, gosh, there's so much information. I'm just like, we could spend 5-6 hours talking about just this one aspect and still not, we're still just going to hit the surface. So there's a whole bunch of different dynamics, but the first and foremost of what he wanted to share and why he wanted to share it with you is understanding that these beings, these reptilians, okay, they are conscious beings as well as humans. However, their existence is limited because they don't have access to the 9 fundamental energies of this universe. They only have access to what they know about them, which is fundamentally different. So humans are encoded and created with those 9 fundamentals, whereas these beings are created from, you can feel them, like their energy is, it's not like a black hole, but it's because a black hole has the energy that sort of pulls and sucks energy into it. They're not that. They don't suck any energy into them, but they don't have a lot of diversity. They're very, like, just matter, but they're not even solid once they become. So some of them have taken human form. And that is, oh, I see what they're going to do. Oh boy, this is fun today. Just let me just say that. So these beings, okay, they came here, They weren't sent here. They came here of their own accord, of their own fruition, of their own belief, right? Intention, just like we did, just like we came into our own lives. However, they did come here with the specific intention to explore how we do things. Okay. Now, again, they're curious, right? So now we have these human souls who have access to these absolutely incredible and diverse 9 energies that they don't even have any awareness of. So their whole intention was to explore these 9 energies, what they mean. If you're unfamiliar with what these 9 energies are, I highly suggest picking up a copy of Believe. It's by me, Michelle Vickers, and I wrote it with the universal being's guidance. So, but here's the thing. They came here to explore our aspect of consciousness, okay? Our universe itself. We are not yet going into other universes and consciousness in other universes. We are just talking about the creation of our universe, okay? However, it is important to understand the way in which the reptilians infiltrated human existence. So there was a point where they chose to participate and come into this universe, yes, but then they wanted to go further. They wanted to explore human physical existence as well. And in doing so, they created a paradigm that the way he's showing me is they created a paradigm to ensure their success. And by that point, so this is, more than 50,000 years ago, right? So by the time they decided to come into physical representation, they understood that the basis of human existence, our existence, and the souls was based on our communication with our souls and our communication with each other and our communication with all universal beings in consciousness. And so they knew that if they were going to continue their exploration, okay, of control and manipulation, they needed to test their boundaries, right? Explore their potential to see if they could break that connection. That's what they came to do. Now, again, their goal was not, okay, harm and suffering and trauma. Their goal was to see if they could actually fulfill control and manipulation. This is really important because we have such strong emotional ties to everything we hear, think, say, do, experience. As conscious beings, there is no emotional reaction like that. It doesn't exist. We have conscious awareness, and then we go, okay, that helps me understand all of this. Now I'm going to move on. I'm going to move to my next experience and my next experience. But we make our choices based off consciousness, which is truth in our world, because truth is one of the 9 fundamentals. So these beings chose to create a family line that would ensure control and manipulation. And so they created the dynamic of royalty. And royalty is the recognition that one human is more valuable than another. That is the concept of royalty. And so their intention was to bring that to human existence. Okay. And they did. And it worked. And then it multiplied because it worked better. All they had to do was apply a little bit of awareness, and it kept going, and it kept going. And ultimately, all they did was they started with implanting is not the right word. It's it's like sliding in little bits of information here and little bits of information there, but all of it, all of this information and wisdom was based on this group of people, very small, one family, okay, in a physical representation, one family having more. The way they started was that that family had more awareness, so they were more valuable. And that belief system is what it's like the snowball effect, right? It just continued and continued into the world that we live in today. That is how, and so what happened is from there they separated and created. That's how the countries were created, all by that one dynamic family breaking into branches to ensure mass manipulation. It's simple. But here's the thing. The creator, he knew it was coming. You have to understand that. You have to feel that. Because his job was never to stop anything like that. His job is not to protect, because he knows, and this is the point of all this information today, okay? Because he knows that you, as his creation, as a soul, are more powerful than these beings who came to play here. You just forgot. You forgot because you believed what they're saying. So these beings who came in with awareness of simply control and manipulation, okay, have taken from you your full awareness of who you are. But they couldn't take anything you weren't willing to give, because this universe is based on free will. That can't change. It has never changed, and it will never change, because it is held by the Creator himself. He's never going to give that the basis of his intention for existence to someone else. That's his to hold. And he has held it for billions of years, trillions of years. Humans have been around for billions, but he's held this conscious awareness for trillions of years. And he says, there's nothing that they can do to you to cause harm unless you choose to have that experience. And this is where most people don't understand that your emotional reactions are a result of you choosing to have those reactions and having those experiences. When you feel energy, when you allow truth to come in, those energies have zero control over you. And as crazy as it seems, as crazy as it sounds, we've been taught that we're powerless if we don't follow the rules. But here's the thing, they're not the rules of the universe. They're the rules that these people set up to ensure their control and manipulation. So if you follow them, you're participating on a mass level in control and manipulation. That's it. It's beautiful, because the Creator is saying that's what 2025 is. It's the year of respect, but it's understanding. Respect is self-recognition. Yes, those are a bunch of words. His vision and what he wants you to understand is this is your time to reclaim your power. He's like, it sounds a little cheesy, like the way, it's because the truth is you just have to remember who you are. It's that simple. The challenge is you have to want to. And most people don't want to. You can even see me. Do I want to share this information? Not really, not particularly, knowing that it's probably going to get censored. And my whole channel may be censored and shut right down because of this tiny little bit of information. It's either going to be censored or I'm going to be slandered, one of the two, because that's their way of maintaining control and manipulation. But the Creator is here, and He wants you to know and understand that the manipulation and the control is just a tool. It is not real. It doesn't have a foundation in existence unless you feed it. And you feed it every single day when you worry if you're going to be enough for someone else. If you need to prove yourself in any way, whether it's in the education system, whether it's in the financial system, the medical system, the religious system, the government system, it doesn't matter. Because the foundations of this world of manipulation are crumbling. And your job is not to fight against it. Your job is to participate in creating a world based on the truth of who you are. The 9 fundamentals of existence: truth, love, compassion, purity, joy, movement, balance, illumination, and I don't trust. Nope, trust is another one. Anyways, the point is, existence is waiting for you. And we are stepping out of the illusion that has been created for us, okay? Yes, it's an illusion. Yes, it seems real. Yes, we've experienced trauma and we have struggled. It's not about moving on, does not dishonor your past. That's the point. Moving on honors it with a level of respect that you have not yet shown yourself. You continue to feel discomfort. You continue to feel fear and judgment and rage and worry about moving forward because you want everyone to know how much you've suffered, how much you've struggled. And what the Creator is saying is, it's not the suffering and the struggle that makes you valuable to human existence. It's your awareness of the suffering and the struggling and what you choose to do with that. Because when you choose to create a different experience based on the 9 fundamental aspects of your existence, now you're contributing to evolution. Evolution is an extension of why you came here. You came here to explore your potential. And in order to rise, you have to rise above the trauma. It's being able to experience it, your challenges, recognize that they're there, recognize your angers and your fears. But you have to discard them. You have to let them become part of your past. And if you're still holding them, like your favorite sweater, it's so comfortable to wear, and you want to make sure everybody sees it, everybody knows it, then you're contributing. You're contributing to the manipulation and control because you're choosing to participate in it at a level that is surrendering to it. And that's, the reptilian, that's what he says. He says, that was our intention, to see if we could make you fold. And it worked. It worked. It's that simple. He's not here to apologize because there's no such thing as apologizing. It's consciousness. We have an experience and we move on. It's humanity who's so consumed with judgment that we need an apology. You don't need an apology if you're not judging. You need to let it go. You need to move on. And the reason that he showed up today was because he's curious. He wants to see how humanity gets out of this, because part of him doesn't think we will, but the Creator knows we will. He knows that his creation is so complex and full of awareness beyond anything that these reptilians can comprehend. They cannot comprehend the level of connection and awareness that human souls have. And there's very few, in the 8 billion people that live on the planet, there's very, very few reptilians left. But you'll know them if you run into them. You'll know them because they're cold. They don't have a connection with their soul. It's instantaneous. It's like a big gaping hole in the center of their energy. There's nothing there of depth. That was the first thing I recognized when I first connected with them almost 20 years ago. Strategically, I was doing communication for someone else on a project they were working on. And they showed up because, again, they just wanted to share why they're here. They didn't come in to have a discussion to, there's not strategic discussions like they pretend to have in government. It's not like that at all. This is not how this works. Consciousness, we have discussions free of judgment. Free of judgment. There's no one sitting there waiting to say, oh, but, or I told you so. It doesn't happen. It doesn't exist like that. That's all the emotional reactions that we've been taught to carry and have. So we can't see truth. But here's the truth. You can see it. Truth is inside of you. Every aspect of existence that has ever occurred is inside of you. There's science is trying to explain different levels of quantum physics and existence by stating manipulation, and that existence itself can be manipulated, but it can't. It can evolve for different experiences depending on our intention. When your intention is pure, that's the ninth energy that I missed earlier, purity. When your intention is pure and you're working with the energies and the foundation of this universe, everything you do is open. It's available. Everything that the reptilians have done from the moment they arrived here, it's open. It's open for you to experience it, to see it, to understand it. And you can have conversations with the reptilians. No big deal. If you are scared of them, I don't encourage you to have conversations with them until you know and recognize your own power and your own understanding that you are a part of this universe and you have access to free will. So that if you become uncomfortable, you just say, go. But if you hold fear, don't have those conversations because they're not going to help you. They're not going to bring truth and awareness. And I will say that the reptilians that are in human form are not the ones you think. They're really not. So this is not about sitting there going, oh, it might be this person and this, him or her. Stop. Because that was not the message today. That was not the message at all. Do not consume yourself with irrelevant and unimportant information. Allow yourself to actually receive the truth of what was being shared. That they came in to explore control and manipulation and had zero awareness of the trauma and the suffering that humanity has endured. They don't really care. That's it. So instead of you caring and holding that anger and resentment for all the trauma and suffering that they caused, they don't want you to do that. That's what the two of them together were saying. Yeah, the head of the reptilians was here saying, stop. Stop doing that. Because it will continue if you keep doing that, because that's the dynamic they set up. It's that simple. So what do? Focus on the experiences you're creating and create something different, free of judgment, free of anger, free of resentment. If you don't know how to do it, allow yourself to focus on truth and love and compassion and respect, but the real versions of those, not the fake ones, not the ones, again, that we've been taught, right? Believe will map them out for you. It'll allow you to feel the energies of them. If you want to go deeper, you can actually I have a whole course where I hold the space for you. Did you know that the energy and the potential for alchemy is the process of holding one energy for 9 minutes, and you go from one state of being to another, 9 whole minutes. What does that mean to you? It means if you can allow yourself to focus on truth rather than judgment for 9 minutes, you will become truth. Doesn't mean judgment won't ever be in your space again, but it means you will embody truth. It's not easy. 9 minutes is a long time. It sounds like nothing, but the moment your brain just starts to veer off, you got to bring it back and start again and start again. But you cannot hold the energy of what your brain thinks truth is. You have to go to the universal perspective and understanding of what truth is. That's what believe offers. Okay. This has been fuller than I thought it was going to be. A little bit of sneakiness in there. But I see now, I see that you needed to hear this. I see that, and I understand that you needed more of a reason to move in the right direction for you, to let more of your fears go and your misunderstandings of existence itself. So I thank you. I thank you for showing up. I thank you for questioning your own existence, questioning the information you're hearing now. And I encourage you to be as open as possible to feel the truth. That's what it's all about. That's what your life is all about. And that's why we're here in this space now, is the truth is finally coming out after being strategically hidden for 50,000 years. It's not about needing to be comfortable in it. It's about allowing yourself to challenge the beliefs that block you from seeing truth. And there's a whole bunch of them. There's a whole bunch, a whole society has been built on them for 50,000 years. It's a roller coaster ride, but it is the best roller coaster ride in existence because your existence is becoming different. And every time you allow more truth to come into your awareness, your vibration rises. Your potential becomes more palpable, more powerful, and your ability to hold the vibration of truth becomes stronger and you can hold it longer. I applaud you. And I thank you for being a part of this movement to help the resurrection of humanity, because we all need to participate. This is not about one person leading. This is about as many leaders as possible, because that's what humans are. And we're not in competition, right? That's the control and manipulation approach to leadership. When you're leading from a place of consciousness and soul awareness, it's a deep recognition of your role, because you know who you are and what you're meant to be doing in this life. And when you embody that, you can hold that space for others to bring their light, their awareness, their existence, and their reason for being out into the world. They can unleash it just like you. That's what we need to do. We need to stop judging so that we can allow our truth to come out, but we can also hold space for everyone else's, because that's what human existence needs right now. The Creator says that's what this is all about. That's what He's doing. He's creating a space for you to believe in you. It was there all along. It was there all along. You just forgot. You forgot how to use it. You forgot how to access it. And that's why communication with your soul is vital to your success. Communication with universal beings is what you were always meant to have access to. And the awareness of consciousness itself. That's like your heart. It's like how your heart beats. That's how intimate your relationship with those aspects of existence are. You've just forgotten how to use them and tap into them. But it's time, and we're changing it. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Carrie says, I know this is a rudimentary understanding, but I kept seeing a child poking at an anthill and changing their society, not to cause trauma, but out of curiosity and exploration. Exactly. That is a brilliant, brilliant visual. And it's funny, I've had that one so many times, like one of those ant farms, even, where if you manipulate the sand in any way, they're just going to change direction. They're going to go in a different direction. It's fascinating. They do not slide into victim mode. Victim mode is our human. Poor me. That's for sure.
Someone I listened to a while back talked about beings coming in and trying to establish like a hive mind with the humans as a way to save them.
Consciousness cannot be preserved through a hive mentality, nor can it be resurrected, right? The only way that humanity can be resurrected is through consciousness itself, a conscious awareness of self and a full recognition of who you are, why you were created, why you exist, what you're meant to be doing. That is the only way. So it is absolute truth, but through the vibration of consciousness. So it's not truth through, tell me what you did and you're a bad person, right? Which is what we've been taught truth is. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this conversation and want to learn more, head on over to michellevickers.com. Join our mailing list to receive new episodes right to your inbox or apply to be a guest on the show. If this episode made you think of someone while you were listening, forward the link onto that person with a little note about why it made you think of them, because the greatest gift you can give another human is to see the beauty and purity of who they truly are. Until next time, stay curious.